Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about sharks and we are going to do a science experiment about sharks. But first of all, we're going to think about sharks for a little bit. What do you know about sharks? Are they big or are they small? Sharks are huge. They are so big. Great white sharks, which is a type of shark, they can be more than 20 feet long. That's as tall as a giraffe would be. And some sharks can weigh up to 2,000 pounds. That's really heavy. That would be the weight of 2 horses. It would be the weight of half a car. It's really heavy. We could not lift a shark, no way. But sharks have to float in the sea when they're swimming. But how does something that big float? It's really heavy. Why does it not just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Now, some sharks do sink, and as an extra little challenge, I would be really impressed if you could do some research and find out the name of a shark that does sink. So there's an extra challenge for you. But all sharks will sink if they stop moving. If a shark is swimming through the water and it stops, it will start to sink to the bottom of the ocean. And some sharks, like the great white shark, they can only breathe when they're moving. If they stopped moving, they wouldn't be able to breathe and they would sink to the bottom of the ocean. So it's really important that sharks can float and they can keep moving all the time. But how do they manage to do that? And that's what we're going to think about today. There are 3 things that make it easier for a shark to float. The first thing that makes it easier for a shark to float is that its skeleton is made out of a material called cartilage. And our skeleton is made out of bones, but our noses, this little bit at the tip of your nose, is made out of cartilage as well. And cartilage is a lot lighter than bone, and it means that the shark's skeleton is lighter and it makes it easier to float. The second thing that makes it easier for a shark to float is the shape of its fin. It's really important what shape the shark's fin is, and that helps it to float as well. The third thing that makes it easier for a shark to float is its liver, and its liver is an organ inside the shark's body. And we have livers too, but a shark's liver is filled with oil. And up to 1/3 of the whole shark can be its oily liver. And we're going to do an experiment now to show us and to explore why a shark's oily liver is so good at helping the shark to float. So I'm going to do the experiment now. You can watch or join in as we go, or you can watch the whole video and have a go at the experiment by yourself afterwards. The things you will need for your experiment are 2 balloons, some oil, some water, a black pen, and if you have it, some sort of little funnel. I didn't have a little funnel, so I'm using a little icing nozzle for putting ice on cupcakes or buns, but anything at all that you could use as a little funnel. Now, with your black pen, the first thing you want to do is to draw some little shark faces on your balloons. Now, you will probably have a better go at drawing them than I had, but you can have a wee go. So that's the first thing you need to do. The second thing we need to do is we need to use our funnel and we need to pour the water into one of our balloons. Now, it's really important when you're doing this that you get somebody at home to help you to do this, because you need to make sure that you don't get very much air into your balloon. You want it just to be your water. Okay, so I'm going to pour some water into my balloon now. I've got half a cup. Okay, I might not use it all. I might only use 1/4, but we'll have to see. Okay, so are you ready? You can watch as I do it. Now I've only used a quarter of a cup and already I can see that my balloon is very full and some of my water might actually spill out. Oh, look, there it goes. So I put a little bit of my water back in, but I've got my balloon. I'm making sure there's no air, and you can get a grown-up to tie your balloon for you. And I've got my little balloon, my little shark, all filled with water. So you remember which colour of balloon is filled with water. It's the orange one. And now I've got my yellow balloon and I'm going to put some oil in it. So I'm going to use my nozzle again. Put my nozzle down and I'm going to get my oil. Okay, you can watch as I pour it in. There's it starting to spill over, did you see that? There we go. Now the oil doesn't fill up your balloon quite as well as the water will, so you'll need to be careful, and it's also a lot slippier and it's harder to tie in a knot. So you will need somebody bigger than you, year 2, to help you to tie your balloons. I think Miss Bannister might need somebody to help me tie this balloon because it's a little bit tricky because it's all filled with oil. Okay, so once you've got your 2 balloons all tied up and they're ready to go, we're going to take them over to a sink, or you could use your bath if you want to, and we're going to see which balloon floats the best. The balloon with the water or the balloon with the oil? Which one do you think will float the best? Okay, year 2, so I've filled my sink up with water and I've got my 2 balloons. Can you remember what was in this one? It was water was in my orange balloon and the oil was in my yellow balloon. So I wonder, have you decided which one you think is going to float? Let's start with the water. What has happened to the water balloon? It has sank all the way to the bottom of my sink. Now let's see about the balloon filled with oil. It is floating on the surface of the water, and that's a bit like sharks, because sharks have a liver that is all filled with oil and it helps them to float in the water. If they were all filled with water, it would be harder for them to float and they would sink to the bottom. Now it's your turn. See if you can get 2 balloons and fill them up with oil and water and have your own shark experiment at home.